Lagi. um, Siyempre, kailangan mo sumabay sa, hindi naman, kailangan mo sumabay sa standard. Pero at the same time, natututo ka. Kasi ang gagawin mo lang naman gayahin ko anong ginagawa nila. Kung nakikita mo na yung disiplina sa harapan mo, makukuha mo kaagad yun eh. Tapos nakikita mo kung paano sila magbigay sa'yo. Parang nung time na nakatrabaho ko yung Miracle Cell number 7 people, kung paano sila nagbigay, sabi ko, ganyan kayo magbigay, so ganito ako magbibigay. So ano lang yun give and take, lalo na sa, syempre, English na mag-i-English naman tayo lagi. So, sobrang expressive nila na ang dali. Ganun, no, so kaya hindi na natin kailangan mag-improve ng sobra kasi usually dito kasi sa Pilipinas, pag nakuha mo na yung script, sa pag-eksena na, improv na. Pag may lines ka lang naiisip, si improv na. Doon, kung ano yung ginawa natin, tapos sa rehearsal, ganun yung mangyayari sa take. So, ayun. Thank you po. Sagot ko ba yan?
So JC, parang sinasabi mo mas professional yun sa international kaysa dito sa atin.
Hindi naman. Iba lang yung nila, disiplina. Kumbaga, pero nag-work naman pareho eh. It just so happens na improv-based, I think, ang films sa Pilipinas. At sa kanila, naka-theater process for me. Yeah. At saka inaano naman siya, kumbaga, minimix or tinotone ni Brad. Ganun. Kumbaga, yung intense level mo dito parang 7 lang. Out of 10. Ganun.
So ano yung napapansin mo na sa tingin mo yung pwede pang i-improve ng mga dito sa atin?
Sa tingin mo? Dami. Ano ba? Sa tingin ko, I think ako, the idea of ano ba? Ito kasi from the theater discipline lang naman ako. Doon ako nandun sa being late. I think being late is selfish. So it starts with your being professional. Kung paano ka sumunod sa oras. And I think masasabi din yun ng mga tao sa militar. Ano mo yan? So ayun lang. Yun lang ako. Tsaka yung cramming culture. Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, ayan na po siya. Please all welcome Mr. Direk Bradley Liu, the filmmaker of MOTEL ACACIA.
Sorry guys.
Hi, Brad. Okay, if you have questions to Direk Brad.
Yeah, I mean this project has been in the process for, before we shot it, it was in development for almost 3.5 years, and then when we finally did it, in the entire writing process, JC was always in my head, because we saw him once during tonight's what was that?
Till I met you.
Yeah.
We met single too.
Yeah. And then after that, he had this very special look when he lost a lot of weight for his role in the teleserye. So then we were thinking, holy crap, like JC is perfect for this role. I mean, the only thing now we need to make him really skinny for the entire shoot. So if you maybe he told you already, like we were forcing him to eat salads every day. So it's like lechon, and then JC is just in the corner with his salads. But it was just a very special moment. It's a very special process if you as the writer of something is able to really imagine the actor in the role. So it kind of eliminates a lot of guessing work. So you kind of start thinking like, what would JC do? What would he feel in this moment? How would he react? And it was a lot easier to write the film.
And how is it with the international cast?
What's very special is because this cast, some of them are huge names. Like Nicholas Saputra is basically the Indonesian John Lloyd Cruz, and then Bram Pelare, very big actor, very respected actor in Malaysia. Vidya Pansigam, basically he was in films with Ryan Gosling, Only God Forgives. And he was in Hangover too.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. And all these international casts, usually Bianca, my producer, and we would meet them in international film festivals. And of course, when you are Southeast Asian, everyone says, oh, you know, we hang out together, stick together, drink together. But then, and of course, you always say, oh, next time you have a project, call me, call me, call me. But then, when can you ever have a Malaysian actor or a Indonesian actor or a Thai actor all at the same time in the Filipino films? And but when this project started developing into the fact that we were going to make a story about these immigrants, and these immigrants were specifically come from Southeast Asia. They want to tell a very specific story. You know, it's like, wow, okay, finally we can make those phone calls and get these high level actors from different Southeast Asian countries on board.
Hello, hi.
Bradley, the film looks very interesting. It reminds me of the trailer reminded me of 13 Ghosts and Hostel combined. It has that feel. So my question is regarding because I've read some reviews of the film and most of them they actually mention specifically that somehow it seems like an ode to the immigrant situation in the U.S. And you, as someone, of course, who's Asian, and what's your experience in the U.S.?
The film doesn't really say it's in the U.S. The reason why we have these questions because we wrote the film very specifically in mind with Southeast Asian immigrants in a cold Western country. And the idea behind this Western country would be the ex-colonizers of us. So our countries, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, we all almost share the same kind of colonizers. And so the idea is that today, in today's society, we are in a society that wants to leave the country. We want to get out of Southeast Asia. We want to go to this greener pastures, this beautiful Western place. But when we get there, what happens? We're second-class citizens, and with today's increasingly crazy political situations in the West, we have crazy dictators, people who feel like immigration it's kind of a cancer, right? We just need to delete it. We need to nuke it or something. So, it's kind of reflective on today's society about immigration and how we think that is the best place to go, but when you get there, there are a lot of realities behind it as well.
As a follow up to that question, because of course I know you're in a way familiar with the Filipino culture because your wife is a Filipino. Why do you think Filipinos can't get out of their colonial mentality?
I don't think just Filipinos. In Malaysia right now, we're going through a huge political crisis as well. That's the same with even Thailand, who's actually never been actually properly colonized. Indonesia, of course, horrible situations. I think when the colonizers came all those 100 years ago, they had a tactic, and the tactic came from the Portuguese, and it was to divide and conquer. You divide the people, set them against each other, and then you conquer them. And that process has been very prevalent in how the exchanges happened, Portuguese to the Dutch, to the English, to the Americans, and even now. When all these colonizers go home and supposedly give us our independence, our politicians use the same methods against us. So people are still blinded by the fact they think that they're free, but we are still bounded with these scars of colonization. And until people acknowledge that politicians and people in power are using these things against us, and it's very hard to step back and realize as well, because we are a country. Our countries are not very rich. We're not classified as first world countries, so we deal with poverty, we deal with social issues, we deal with a lot of problems. But the people need to see that these same tactics are still used against the people to keep them separated from us, from uniting, so that strong people and rich and greedy people stay in power.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Wow.
But it's also a
And
scary
world
film.
peace.
It's got
It's wild.
monsters.
Yeah,
it's got
it's
creatures.
such a layer. Okay,
This is for director Bradley. Why did you choose to create a narrative of immigration through the lens of horror?
I feel like, well, not to say that we wanted to specifically do horror, but my first film was a drama. It was a portrait of a man growing old. About it had Pepper Smith in it, the late Pepper Smith. So for the second film, Bianca and I, my producer and I, we were like, we need to go 180 degrees. We need to, go crazy, go as extreme as you can away from, that first kind of style. So it was with us, because we have the same team basically, the DOP, Larry Manda, the production designers, Benjamin Padara, Khaled Tabihi. We were all like the same team from the first film. So we decided that we would push ourselves to the absolute limit by doing something totally different and challenge ourselves. And so therefore we came out with the idea of doing something a little bit supernatural, a little bit horror, thriller, with elements of suspense. So the reason I guess it would be, we picked the genre first, and then we decided that we needed to make something a bit more meaningful with the genre and push a little bit of ideas behind it as well.
Pero horror talaga pag dumadaan ka ng immigration.
To the director, how was the mythological creature chosen? Is it something that represents something in the movie?
Sorry.
How was the mythological creature described in the movie? Is that a representation of something?
When the writing started, I'll be very honest, when the writing started, we decided we wanted to try doing something with the kapwa, because we were very fascinated with this creature that's always on trees. But as we started writing, we realized that this really doesn't show classic symptoms of the kapwa to a certain extent. We wanted to create our own creature, so that's why we decided that this would be a tree demon, and the tree demon. It kind of spawned the idea of the film itself. Like we thought about tree demons, which is very prevalent in Southeast Asian mythology, not just in the Philippines. So there's always a tree somewhere in the forest that you should be afraid of, because something lives in the trees. And we thought like, okay, what if these illegal loggers come down and cut down this tree, and the spirit of this tree demon is stuck in the wood? And of course, what do they use this wood for? They make furniture, they make things. And suddenly you have this vengeful bit that eats men and impregnates women. So.
And another follow-up question. On the tree demon, was that transported from the Philippines going to Europe, or that is something that came from the place itself?
Oh yeah, I would say it's definitely something,
It's something.
from us going to there.
All right, thank you. And what are the social issues aside from migration that being tackled in the film?
I feel for me, because we look at the film is a journey through JC's basically point of view. So it was very important for us that we wanted to create something where a young man trying to step up from his father's shadows. And in that sense, that when the father tells him that you are here to inherit something that's evil, that's used in the name of evil or cruelty, or then he needs to make decisions. So I think the film is really about the dangers of apathy, the dangers of not making choices, because not making a choice also has consequences. And as JC goes through this journey of deciding what to do, does he follow in his father's footsteps and kill people? Or does he not do anything where people also die? Or does he try to do the right thing and save them? But these things in reality also have consequences for all three.
All right, that's something that we should watch. And to JC, after doing this film, do you